Baik, satu dua cek. Cek, cek.
Tes. Oke, sebelum dibuka resmi oleh Bu Sita nanti ada pemberitahuan. Jadi bagi yang bertanya nanti ya akan disediakan 5 voucher, 5 voucher dari Itlah sama apa tadi, Pak? Oh ya, shortcut, Itlah dan shortcut. Jadi tanya aja nanti ya. Oke, sebagai pengantar, pembicara kita adalah pembicara kelas dunia ya. Pak Robert de Souza ini udah keliling dunia. Beliau sering diminta menjadi konsultan di berbagai belahan dunia terkait dengan supply chain. Jadi sangat relevan sekali dengan bidang ilmu yang Anda pelajari. Nanti simak baik-baik, nanti beliau akan menggunakan bahasa Inggris, tapi bahasa Inggrisnya mudah dipahami kok, tenang aja. Dan kalau bertanya, langsung catat, nanti kita kasih hadiah voucher gitu ya. Oke, udah siap ya? Pokoknya bertanya tentang supply chain logistik gitu ya. Kalau nanya hobinya Pak Robert apa? Boleh nggak? Boleh aja sih. Selamat sore Bu Sarina.
Ini ya, ya, upstairs. Oh, oh, you want to walk? Okay. So I will assist you. Yes. Yeah. No, but it's okay. Yeah, yeah. You follow. Of course, you need the mic.
I can shout. You can hear me.
No, so I will. What is it? Operate your computer for next.
Okay, you're gonna operate. Okay.
Mau operate. Oh, atau ada. Karen mana Karen? Badis. Satu orang dong. Mic nggak ada. Is it bothering you? Oh. Ya, oke. Ya, enggak apa-apa. Tunggu klipannya ngantar Bapak itu. Ya, udah ada klipannya. Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sore semuanya. Mudah-mudahan walaupun sore tapi tetap semangat ya. Nah, sekarang kita mau mendengarkan pembicaraan dari seorang expert ini ya, kelas dunia, Profesor Dr. Robert Tisol, National University of Singapore. Ada beberapa yang mau disampaikan oleh Pak Wareksatu, silakan Pak.
Ya, rekan-rekan industri ya yang hadir, terima kasih untuk kehadirannya dan juga adik-adik mahasiswa di kehadirannya. Ini salah satu forum kegiatan kita untuk mencapai visi kita menjadi world class university, world class institute. Jadi tadi pagi kita udah adakan acara Groslock ya, ada 8-9 pembicara dari 9 negara. Dan hari ini kita ada executive talk tentang logistik. Nah, ini kesempatan bagus adik-adik untuk bisa berdiskusi dengan Dr. Robert ya. Ini mereka punya kampus termasuk ranking 11 dunia sekarang ya, terbaik 11 dunia ya dari seluruh dunia. Jadi untuk beliau bisa hadir ke sini sharing dengan Anda semua, saya kira ini kesempatan yang baik ya. Kesempatan yang baik. Jadi siapa tahu nanti setelah kenal beliau, dengar apa presentasinya, pengen ngambil studi lanjut masternya di bidang supply chain. Ini US juga ada program ini, program logistik supply chain-nya ya. Adik-adik boleh, tapi kan ini dengan ngikutin kelas dulu di sini, nanti baru punya mimpi-mimpi, baru nanti coba dicapai ya. Intinya jangan malu untuk bertanya ya, tanya sebanyak mungkin ya. Ini sengaja event ini kita buat karena sesi pagi tadi waktunya sangat terbatas karena cukup banyak pembicara. Tapi di sesi ini Anda bisa bertanya semaksimal mungkin. Ya, oke, setuju untuk bertanya? Setuju. Ini kelihatannya lagi ngantuk ini. Coba ngomong setuju gitu ya. Setuju untuk bertanya? Oke. So Dr. Robert also will be very enthusiastic to teach you, to give you information ya. Tapi kalau Anda tidur, jadi kita juga ngantuk juga nanti. Oke, selamat mengikuti Executive Talk.
Cek, 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 cek. Okay, you can hear me? Now, for those of you who don't know me, how many of you know me? You know me from this morning, right? Did you enjoy the session this morning? Oh, you don't join, so you're new. Okay, so I'm going to start all over again. Okay, so let me share with you a little bit about my background. You heard it from the introduction, but let me share with you in a nutshell what my background is. My background is that I have lived in many countries in the world. Singapore is the 5th country that I have lived in, but I have visited virtually all the continents of the world. Okay, so I have a different worldview from what you will have, but I hope I will change your worldview by the end of the session. Okay, so I'm going to give you insights into what I see. Now, I'm culturally agnostic. Okay, I make friends wherever I go, and I don't care where they're from, right, or what they do. I will just make friends very easily. Okay, my background: I was born in a country that had virtually nothing except a port. This country was called Yemen. You know Yemen? At that time, it was South Yemen. Okay, it was South and North Yemen. Now today, it's called Yemen, and it had a very distinctive port. Do you know what the port was called? Aden. Adan. Now, port is very important port for one reason and the one reason only. Yeah, and that port is important because it's either the entrance to the Suez Canal or the exit from the Suez Canal. So you look on the map and you see Yemen, and you see the Horn of Africa, and you'll see this port called Aden, A-D-E-N. Yeah, curious port right now, but actually that port is very important because it's where all the goods of the world come through. That was my first experience of logistics. When something goes wrong in that Suez Canal, our trade with the world is affected. Okay, so that was my worldview. I lived there for 11 years of my life. So I could speak Arabic, but right now I don't. I then lived in East Africa, a country called Mozambique. Yeah, in Maputo. Yeah, very, very beautiful country. Okay? Very beautiful country. For those of you who don't know where Mozambique is, it's next to South Africa on the east side, and it's just below Tanzania and Kenya. Okay, and after that, I lived in Lisbon. Lisbon is in Portugal. Okay, known for its soccer teams. Right? I'm sure you know that. And after that, I lived in the UK. But all the time from Yemen to the time that I lived in the UK, actually went to school in the UK. So all the time I was in school in the UK from the age of 11 until I finished my doctorate. I won't say what age because then you'll work out how old I am, right? So my experience, I came to Singapore in 1991 at the time of the Gulf War. Yeah, Singapore was building up its logistics, and I was one of those that helped to build the logistics. And there was a gentleman speaker earlier on with me called Dr. Albert Tan, and he and I were working on the logistics field in Singapore, right? I left the university in Singapore. I was with a university called NTU. Yeah, we were starting off the university, and I left the university in 1996. Do you know what happened in 1996? No. You're all holding a mobile phone, right? In 1996, the internet started. Okay? Now you know where the internet started, right? The internet started, and I was one of the first internet entrepreneurs. So I created a technology that you all are using, but you don't know where it came from. Now you know. This technology is called track and trace. So I was an internet entrepreneur, left the university, and I said, and this company that I set up, I actually sold the company to an American company, and therefore I had to move to Atlanta and live in Atlanta, or I should say work in Atlanta, live in Singapore, and I was the senior vice president of this multinational company. They moved me back to Asia to be the CEO for a multinational. And after that, I was the CEO for another multinational. And when you're done enough, you're done enough. So I came back to the university. I was invited by NUS to join them in 2003 to lead the Logistics Institute. And for the last 20 years, I've led the Logistics Institute. We work with governments across the world. We work with companies across the world, and we work with academia across the world. We connect between these three. So what I'm going to show you today is very essential. We had about little under 1 month ago, I had the opportunity to go with my good friends here at Trisakti to Lampung. Now, I was studying the commodity supply chain. The commodity supply chain is very important because it's called, in another way, staple foods. Do you know what staple foods are? Staple foods, the foods that if you don't have, you'll be very hungry, leave alone very unhappy. So can you name me some staple foods? Rice, thank you. Bananas. Onions. Yeah, so these are staple foods. Without them, you'd be hungry. Okay? So these staple foods is very important to study, that this supply chain is very effective, because if it's not effective, you will starve. The price of these goods is not only determined by market forces, it's also determined by social objectives. Okay? Just like rice. But not all types of rice here. Not all types of rice. The common elements of rice, and you have to have a special price for this rice, and it has to meet the supply of the domestic market before you export. Why do you do that? Because you have to satisfy the community in the country with the staple food. All right? Got it? Now, so I had the opportunity to go and visit the plantations. And I'm going to share with you what I learned and how you can actually engage with a supply chain. Now, all of you are in supply chain, right? Anybody not in logistics? No, not even one hand. So you're all in logistics. Good. I'll skip a few slides because you're all experts. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you basically what do you need to see if you went to visit some facility, and it could be onions, it could be anything, but it's a staple food. So what is in that supply chain? I have the next, please, thank you. So it started, and I must acknowledge this, it started with a conversation in your ministry, your coordinating Ministry of Economic Affairs, and you can picture there's Pakatong and there's Spakali, yeah? Okay? Two of them actually said, this is a good thing to study, and this is what we should do. All right? Next slide, please. Now, who doesn't eat bananas? Nobody, right? Everybody eats bananas. See, that's what I mean by a staple food. It's one of the food that we all eat. But you do more with bananas here than we do in Singapore. You actually fry them too. We can't get fried bananas very easy. We don't get banana snacks. When I went to Lampung, I came back with a box full of banana snacks. We don't get banana snacks here. We don't get bananas with everything, but you got bananas with everything. All right, so they're bananas and bananas and bananas. So, but it's very important that when the banana reaches the supermarket shelf, the very important supermarket is that the shelf life of any fruit or vegetable is maximized. Maximized, right? Because if you get it when the shelf life is too short, the selling pressure is too high. Agreed? So we have to now treat the banana as a perishable item. It's going to deteriorate. The moment I harvest the banana to get it to the supermarket, it's perishable. It's deteriorating. It's dying until it gets in your tummy. Yeah? It's dying, but it's feeding you. It's dying. So there is a supply chain that goes all the way from the plantation to consumption. That's what we know. And the banana, when we went to see it, the banana is rock hard when it's picked. And when it gets to the supermarket, it has to be in a perfect condition. If it's not in a perfect condition, you will not buy it. If it's a bit black, if it's split, they cannot sell it. Okay? So we must go through this supply chain and we must get it right. So we must take the green banana as far as possible downstream without it becoming yellow. But when it gets to the supermarket, it must be the right color of yellow. So we artificially have to ripen the banana. So that's about all that you know. So we have a team, and you'll recognize some of the members of the team. They're here. Next slide, please. Thank you for helping me, my very assistant here. And thank you. Now, when we are looking at this, the strategy we always want to have in place is cost and time. Yeah. We know if we have to speed up something very fast, it's going to be very costly. Okay? If we don't want to pay more money for something, it's going to take more time. So all the time, we are balancing cost and time. Okay? Next slide. Okay? So we have to have strategies. And I'm sure your lecturers have told you about multiple strategies about how to reduce cost. Next slide, please. And the next strategy for us is how to reduce time. But we know it's a spectrum. Like I told you, if you reduce cost, you increase time. Yeah, if you reduce time, you increase cost. Okay, so it's a trade-off. What is that appropriate trade-off when we are thinking about all the time we want to incorporate stakeholders in the supply chain who do what we want them to do? But do we understand what those stakeholders want? Next slide, please. Now, when I teach in a class, we teach them a simple strategy, how to look at a supply chain. We tell them about 5W1H. Now, I'm not this because I can't see it, but you can. Yeah, you know the five W and who and how. Yeah, and so these are the 5W1H. All the time we are asking these questions. So we're asking the question, for example, where are the bananas moving to? Where might we lose the time and cost? And I'll tell you, when you look at it, we are losing time and cost because until 1 month ago, the bananas in Singapore were very yellow. When I go to the supermarket and I see the bananas really very ripe, what does that tell you about the supply chain? It tells you the supply chain is not quite working because it's lost time. Yeah. And then the supermarket has to discard the bananas. But when the banana reaches us in the supermarket and it's pretty much green, which is happening now, it means the supply chain is working. It's diagnostics. It's working pretty well. Okay. So the banana in the supermarket, green, good supply chain. Yellow or squashy or split or black is not good. All right. Next, please. We put together, when we are looking at it in any kind of research project, we look at it and we say basically we need to know for every kind of good, where's the origin, where's the destination. And we have to look at all the origin, destination, going from A to B, asking the questions, and we need to know about time and cost. That is our key strategy. All right. Next slide, please. Now, so I get my team, and when we went to to look at this, we basically want to understand what's the value chain. So next slide, please. So we know the stakeholders. Now, this is a generic supply chain for bananas. A generic means a generalized supply chain. So we know it's the farmers, the collectors collect from the farmers, and then they either go to an exporting agent or they go straight to all of this, and it comes down all the way to the end, which is the supermarkets or the retailers. All right? So it's very straightforward, but there is a step collectors and wholesalers or the exporting agent, and that step where these bananas are actually harvested and packaged, either for the domestic international market. Okay, next slide, please. Now, if I'm going too fast for you or too slow for you, go like this, faster, or go like this, slow down, right? Agreed? Or you're not so kind, or you're too kind. I don't know. You're students, right? So you got a right to control your class. So do you control your lecturers? Sometimes. Good, good. I like to have you in my class. Thank you. So, and we look at it, and I wanted to show you this. We have to, when we go to study a supply chain, when we go to the ground, we observe. And I took these photographs. Now, if I look at these photographs, I can see we have a discussion. They have a very nice meeting room, and we can have a discussion. Okay, we have a very good discussion with them, and we want to be able to understand what the problems are. Okay, so it's just like going to the doctors, you know, what are the issues? But we also have to be careful. Whenever we go to a visit, does the company want to show you the good side or the bad side? The good side, right? If they show you the bad side, they don't do good marketing, right? But you didn't answer my question. I'm going to come back to you for the next question. She was very good. Yeah, she answered it. So when we actually look at it, we get the good side. We don't really understand the real issues with it. So we have to dig deeper. So we went to the plantation. Now, what do you observe from this? What do you observe from this? I'm looking at you, so there's no other person behind you. He already answered. What do you observe? What do you observe from this slides? What do you observe? Help him out.
Apa yang bisa diamati dari slide ini?
Okay.
Angkat tangan, nggak apa-apa pakai bahasa Indonesia.
What do you observe? You're going to hit her? No, you don't hit her yet. She's too kind. Okay. What do you observe? Okay, what do I observe? I observe there's a bumpy road. Look, if you can help me to click on that video in the middle. Yeah, there's a video in that one there. If you can click for me. Karen, you can click for me that video in the middle. Yeah. See? Yeah. Yeah, in the middle one, yeah. The middle one, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that one, yeah, yeah, yeah. What do you observe? See, remember what I told you. You want to be able to get the bananas in the supermarket that are not bruised, because if they're bruised, they're black. They're not split. But if you look at this, the road is bumpy. Yeah, the road's bumpy. Look at the way they handle the bananas into the truck. Actually, is it increasing the shelf life or decreasing the shelf life? These are things we don't know the answers, right? We're listening, we're being recorded, right? So we don't know the answers. It might be decreasing the shelf life. So look at that video there. Now you can't see it. You can see it now. It's working. Look how he's very skillful. Very skillful. Yeah. See? Yeah. Look, in the truck. Now, when he's doing that, right? I was trying not to stand so close because that thing was very sharp. Yeah. Yeah. Now, you look at it, the sorting, and if you look at all of this, you can learn a lot about this supply chain, right? Just by looking. All right. Next slide, please. And also learn about the supply chain from talking. Don't just look. Don't just listen. Really look. Really listen. Yeah, really listen. Because then you're beginning to learn in any supply chain that you do. I go and I stand in the picture and I see at the back of me is a different kind of plantation, right? What plantation is that? Pineapple, right? And the front is bananas, right? So I can see that the plantation is doing multiple kinds of fruits. Yeah, so the production scheduling is a big issue too. You have to be able to schedule. So go there and I talk to the ladies who are working in the plants, and I talk with them and I socialize with them. They're very happy. They all want to line up to take a photograph, right? So kind of like I say, hey, that's interesting. So what do you do? Because engaging with the people is what makes the banana. That's what I mean by the social supply chain, the social element. These people are very proud that they harvested the banana. Yet, when you buy the banana in the supermarket, do you know which plantation it came from? Wouldn't you like to know? Wouldn't you go and say, thank you very much, I ate for breakfast? Wouldn't you like to do that? Or you just don't care where the banana came from? You care. Yes, you would want to tell. And this is the future of supply chain management. Everything is identifiable. Everything should be identifiable. We have technology that can do this. What is that technology called? Blockchain, right? We have the technology to do this. We can identify with every plantation. But when I go and pick up the bananas from the supermarket, it's anonymous. It's anonymous. It doesn't speak to me. It doesn't tell me I was from Lampong. Yeah? It doesn't tell me. I would like to know that. I would like to go and say, thank you very much for picking the bananas. I enjoyed it very much. Because everything that we buy today, it's not personal. Imagine making it personal. Now, I come to Jakarta many times. I go to the same hotel. I go to the same hotel because I get very good service. I know everybody by name as I go through. Yeah? If I stay here long enough, I'll know all your names too. Yeah? I go by name because the hotel is just a brand. The hotel is just a building. It's the people that make it. It's hotel. If you go to a very posh hotel and the service is rude, you don't care, right? But you just say, I paid a big bill for this rude service, right? So I choose my lifestyle based on who I can identify with. This is the future for us in supply chain. The human element is missing, the ownership element. If we all take pride in our work, we will be able to deliver the productivity that we all yearn for. Okay, so I engage with them. Now, look what's behind me in that shelf. And we go to the next slide. Yep. This one production facility produces all these brands. So what do I do next? I go to the supermarket and find out the price of each brand, right? Do you think it's the same? Do you think it's the same? The price? I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. But I can assume what the answer might be. Okay? Ask yourself the question, why is the company not producing its own brand? I don't know the answer. There must be a logical answer, and I want to ask the company. But the company produces the silver label and then puts the brands. Okay? And this happens in many things. So when we want to understand supply chain management, we really have to ask these questions, because these questions help us know where to improve. If we don't know where to improve, We're just simply logisticians doing what we're told or taught to do. We're not intelligent or smart logisticians. You know the difference? We work smartly. We don't work hard. You work hard and you don't work smart, you don't get the productivity. So I'm asking all these questions until you don't want to be in my class anymore. Okay, because I ask you the questions, not you ask me the questions. So these are things that we learn. Next slide, please. So I wanted to do something with this supply chain hypothetically. I have not spoken to the company, got nothing to do with the company, but I wanted to understand this supply chain hypothetically. So these are the objectives that I put out. Go to the next slide. Thank you, Karen. Yeah. And you can read this, but we did the value chain analysis. And if you go through this, I got a team of researchers, young like you, a little bit older, but they question everything. So my team questions everything. I almost asked them that we don't want to have a partner because we question everything. Okay? We question and question until we need to know all the answers for this. And two things we need to understand is the SWOT analysis and the PESTEL analysis. You've done SWOT analysis, right? You've done PESTEL analysis, right? Yes? Okay, so we have to question everything. Next slide, please. Okay, next slide, please. Now, what do we do with this knowledge? If you can slowly for me. Yep, so first, wait, yep. So we know, I described to you the real world. I described to you that what we want from this real world, we want a real solution. But we cannot experiment with the real world. So we have to do the next step. Thanks, Karen. We have to build a model, okay, of that real world. But remember, the model is an assumption of reality. It cannot be the real world. We have to make assumptions because the mathematics allows constrained model, all right? So we have to represent that world within the model. Next, that model we can play with, we can run the model, and we can actually get a real solution. When we get that model solution, we can convert that model solution into the next step, which is the real solution. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see real problem, the model, solution, and the real solution. What are we solving? I told you, we want to increase shelf life. We want to increase visibility. We want to be able to export more. We want to be able to socially balance the supply chain. Okay, next, please. So our team does all the, sorry, here it looks like gray, but it's actually the black boxes in the middle, which visualization, this network optimization, simulation, digital twinning, and AI powered. Have you done all these technologies? Not yet, right? Not yet. So now, why do we not jump to the technology at the end, which is what everybody wants, AI? Because we don't have the data. The data might not be readily available. If we don't have data, we can't do AI. We can't learn from something that does not exist. Yeah, we have to have data to train the models. And my colleague in Australia will join me in a bit. He'll join me at about 4 o'clock. He's probably on the call right now. His name is Hassan. He worked with me. He's got his own company in AI. And he's going to show you how he took what we did and built an AI model. But if we don't have the data, we have to start with that gray box on the bottom here and migrate up, because we can't just start from the most extreme. So we start with the basic data. Everybody has what is the customer location and what is the location of the current suppliers. Everybody has this data. I can go to the internet and I can find this data. Okay? So very easy. During the pandemic, we did not know where our suppliers were. We did not know where our suppliers were. When the borders closed, we suffered. Now, you didn't suffer too much. Yeah. We suffered in Singapore because we have no agriculture. We have no water to suffice. Yeah. We have no electricity to suffice. So we have to import virtually most of our food source. So when something closed, which is the first time in your lifetime, not the first time in my lifetime, but the first time in your lifetime, suddenly the borders close, you're stuck. Your supply chains have stopped. We heard this morning. It's a humanitarian crisis, yeah? We have to know where our suppliers are so we can risk manage. We can manage that risk so that our bananas, for example, get to where we want to be. But when the borders closed, the bananas got stuck. Yeah, that's why we had bananas that were very yellow. Okay? So, at visualization, where things are. Have you used visualization? Have you used visualization? Yeah. You're not going to look at me. Have you used it? The answer is simply yes or no. Have you used visualization? Yeah, I know you're going to answer. Have you used visualization? No? Yes or no? Yes, let's hear you. Yes or no? There's only two answers. You can choose one, right? So, yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Have you used visualization? Have you used visualization? Yes or no? Me? What is Google Maps? Is it visualization? Who hasn't used Google Maps? Please, if you don't use Google Maps and you can get around, I'll hire you. Yeah. Okay. You don't use Google. Okay, so you have used Google Maps. It's visualization, right? It's helping you. It's basically telling you where your location is relative to others. It's telling you how long it will take to get from A to B and what are your basic options, not all the options, your basic options. It's telling you whether the roads are congested or not. Okay, you see this every day. So if you say you haven't used visualization, it just means that you don't know what the term visualization means, but you certainly have used it. Okay, the next stage, greenfield analysis. What is greenfield analysis? It's basically knowing where the location of something got to be. If I know all my demand, I need to place my warehouse in a particular location. I cannot place it anywhere. I have to place it in the most optimum location, the greatest community. And so I can do network optimization. It's a little bit more information. But what am I telling you? I can go all the way to the end, and these tools give me more than I wanted. Okay? But the data requirements gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay? So that's the boxes on the bottom. I need more and more data to solve the problem. And I can get, with more data, I can get the orange boxes on the top, which gives me more answers because I got more data. I can get more modeling capacity. So I'm going to quickly show you rapidly all these steps. What we did with hypothetical data. Okay, next slide, please. Now, please feel free to ask me questions as I go on. Are you following me on my journey? Yes or no? Yes or no? Louder. No, you're not following me on my journey. Okay, so where are you lost? can we give you a microphone? Maybe, yeah.
Thank you, Prof. Stensa. You said that we need the data, okay? Maybe after you give the information detail, could you give us the example maybe how to maximize the
I
data?
think I've got a microphone. Anybody want to?
Yeah.
Sorry.
How to maximize the data in Indonesia?
Yes.
Because we really need the big information from you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So now you said that, repeat the first part because I got, sorry, distracted a little bit. Repeat the first part of your question. You asked
Okay.
me that I said
Yeah.
that you need the data.
Yes, because the first you said that we need the data. Okay. I think mostly everything in Indonesia we need the data. So
Yes.
how to maximize the step by step in order we can get the big data.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
Very good question. I like this question because, but there was one question that you missed. You said, why should I, you didn't tell me why should I give you my data? Okay. Which is probably the hardest part. Yes. Because if I ask you, give me your data, you're going to tell me, no. Why should I give you my data? So we always have to take it on an iterative journey. Yeah. One step at a time. So we ask, what data do we need? So the first data, we can go back a few slides, Karen, please. Yep. Go back. Yeah. So the first, the data is like Google Maps. Where am I now? And where do I want to go to? That's the first set of data. Everybody has this data. Because if you know where I am, you know my A, and you want to know your B. And you can have intermediate steps too. But now I have to tell the company, give me that data. And the company said, why should I give you the data? So we have to show the result of using this basic information such that I can encourage you to give me more data. What more data do I need? I need the demand data. In addition, why do I need the demand data? So that I can determine the capacity. Now, if I'm going on a Google and I go from A to B, I know my first set of data, but I don't know how many people are in my car. You know what I'm saying? So now I need that second stage of data to actually say, what is my demand? I also need a set of data, what kind of vehicle is going to take me? Where is that location of that vehicle? Because I am going from A to B, but that vehicle got to come to my A. You know what I'm saying? So I'm increasing that level of data. Okay? But at every stage, I ask you for data, I show you value. You give me more data. I give you more value. Show me more data. I give you, until you don't need to give me data because I go to AI and I give you the data. Okay? So it's an iterative journey. Now, when I ask you the question, are you following me or not? Your answer was no. But I don't believe that an answer was no. Your answer was yes, right? You following me so far? Yes. Okay. So you said no. So I kind of like, okay, I thought, whoa, okay, I just talked for about half an hour and you said, following what I'm trying to do. I'm giving you the experience of telling you, we go into any kind of supply chain, researchers, what do we want to find out? Okay, so now, very good question, but we have to answer, we have to give you value. Otherwise, you will not be encouraged to give me data. Now, I can tell you something very important about data. You want to protect your data. Yes? You don't want to share your data with her, right? She doesn't want to share your data with you. But if you don't share your data, how can I build a transport system for you? Yeah, if you don't want to tell me where you work and what you do in the morning and what kind of journey time you like, yet you expect me to build you a public transport system. Is that fair? No, right? So there is a level of sharing that we must encourage. No company says, I'm willingly sharing you with my data. Yeah. I proved to them so many times that we can actually, if we don't share the data, we don't progress. But countries are now protecting their data. And protecting the data, so we're going to see that things are not going to move so quickly. Yeah, but the more you share data, not too much data, but the more you share data, the better the systems are. That's something we have to learn. Okay. Now, next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. So we wanted to create this, and I want to show you this. So please, let's go to the next one. Next slide. Okay. So answering your question, so the first stage that we did was visualize the data. Okay. So the steps in visualizing the data is that we want to network, we want to understand this network. What is the network? Suppliers, manufacturers, storage, transporters. Yeah, these are, but if I don't know where my network is, and no matter how many times I don't know where I am, because Jakarta is, I don't know whether I'm going north or south or east or west. I don't know. It's so big. Yeah. So I look on the Google map and I let the map, show me, then I learn more and more about Jakarta. In Singapore, it's very easy because if I more than 45 minutes in Singapore, I'm a submarine. Okay? Because you can't do that, right? It's a maximum time is 45 minutes, which means that the logistics can be better. Why can the logistics be better in Singapore than it can be here? It can be better because I know everything must happen within an hour. Yeah. In Singapore, I do not have to leave my origin if I know the destination is blocked, because I got an hour. When I come to Jakarta and I ask my edge, how long will it take me to go to the airport? He tells me what day. He tells me what time. Yeah. And even though he tells me what time, it's different. It's different. Okay. So if I'm lucky, very fast. If I'm not so lucky, it's longer. But in Singapore, I know to get to the airport from any location, maximum 1 hour, unless the road is completely destroyed. Even with the slowest traffic jam, 1 hour is sufficient. Okay. Now, that is not the case in a country that's so big. Okay, you got it? Next one is actually understanding. I told you who are the stakeholders I want to include in the problem. Not the stakeholders, because I can't include everybody. I have to include the stakeholders that make a difference. Do you know what an isochrone is? You know what's an isochrone? I can't walk over facing the camera, but do you know what an isochrone is? It's driving distance. Yeah. I put my warehouse such that I can serve percentage of my community within a given time. Like Shopee or like Lazada or like Tokopedia or anything. I can get it to you within 2 hours. I can get it to you within 4 hours. Why? Because I can go from a location that I know. More than that, tomorrow. Yeah. So this is isochrones. The next thing is determining that warehouse. So please, next slide. Now, I can show you all this. And so step by step, I can identify immediately for the bananas where they are. So you can see I'm coming in from suppliers, I'm going to Lampung, and then I'm supplying there. I'm imagining this, yeah, but it's not real data, it's imaginary data, it's open data. Okay, next. 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 And I'll show you this in the model, right? So am I able to click right at the back? Yep, the animation. Not the one in the front, but the one at the back. Not this one. You can pause this one. Yeah. Yes, just click on that. Yeah. So you can see this. This is opening up like Google Maps. This is visualization. Yeah. I'm showing you here that where we can actually say, where's all the demand? Yeah. I can know where all the farms are, where the ports are. I can actually know all the things that are the stakeholders that I want on a map. We build this very easily, yeah? From students build this readily. So I can show you this, and I can show you all of these things and say, these are potential customers, yeah? These are warehouses. And the isochrones, if I locate my warehouse there, what distance can I serve? Yeah, so you'll see this. This is the distance I can serve within a set frame. The dark frame means very quickly. The lighter frame means, the lighter color means not so quickly. This is what I can serve. Now, why is it zigzag? It's because of the roads, the access roads. I can actually look at the clusters too. Yeah. I can actually say, I want to locate a warehouse within that area, and therefore I get the warehouse. It's very quickly. I want to serve this area. Where should I locate my warehouse? Yeah. I can move my warehouse around. Yeah. And I can do this. So I can determine where is the best place to locate my warehouse such that my bananas reach the supermarket in ideal condition, because within a certain time frame. All right. So this is what I'm doing. All right. Now, okay, I can hit the next screen. Yeah. So now that you've seen all this, I have to build performance dashboards. So I've built a set of performance dashboard that talks about the transportation analysis and how this can be done. So straight away, I told you the problem in the first 40 minutes, and I'm showing you this now in a very detailed manner. Next slide, please. I can also build logistics and inventory analysis. I can show you the visibility. So you remember I showed you visualization, I went through visualization, I went through GFA, and now I'm showing you how I can go through simulation modeling and how I can create a digital twin. Next slide, please. Okay. We are also working with big companies like Amazon and SAP and Oracle to create technology such that the farmers can anticipate when the harvest is due. When is the good time? What's the weather condition? So I can actually look at all of these in a graph. Okay, very useful, because right now they might not have the technology. Next slide, please. And just keep hitting the button for me, please, Cam. Thanks. So I have a greenfield analysis, which is the visualization that tells me the optimal number and distribution centers. Tells me the infrastructure as well as the capacities of the warehouses. Okay, and the last one tells me the simulation where I can actually know what is the level of inventory within each one. Okay, next. Now, remember, this whole conference is actually based on humanitarian logistics. The disasters will happen, weather conditions will happen. So I need to understand that if I locate a warehouse in a bad location, yeah, it might be impacted by. Therefore, the optimal location of a warehouse, the best location of a warehouse might be the worst. Why? Because it might be placed in a zone that's prone to disasters. Okay, so by this technology that we have, we can actually understand risk analysis. Okay, next slide, please. I can use that risk analysis, you can see in the bottom thing there, to re-optimize my network, but this time to accommodate risks. Okay, so I'm moving you very fast into all that spectrum of modeling, and I can build on this side a digital twin. Yeah, what's a digital twin? A digital twin is beyond the simulation, it's a real-time simulation. Okay, next slide, please. Now, we're going to run very slowly through this because Hassan is on the call, and Hassan is my colleague, and he's based in Australia. He will talk to you about this in much more detail, but I'm just going to, if you can click on this video for me, please. Yeah, okay. See, this is actually intelligent. How many of you have used ChatGPT? You have, right? We can build ChatGPT for this problem. Okay, so I'll show you here, and this is actually like with generative AI, it's actually building you this location. Yeah, so I can actually start off with the base model. I can do the GFA. Yeah, and I'm going to show you this step by step because it has to go through this. Yeah, so here, what am I doing? I'm searching for Lampong. Okay, this is based on open data. I got the customers, I got the warehouses. Yeah, and we're actually going to go through this in a very detailed way. So I'm not going to start. So I will click the next slide. Yeah, I will come through this in a great detail and you'll see this for yourself, a live application. Yeah. Okay, if you just stop it, go to the next slide. Yeah. Okay. We are going to deep dive. How many of you want to know about AI? No. No, you don't want to know about AI? You want to know about AI? You don't want to know about AI? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, we got an expert on AI coming on at 4 o'clock. It's a little bit late for him. Yeah. Now, we're going to circle back. We keep going. So keep going. Next slide. Thank you. And what are some of the pain points? What are some of the other things that we need to consider? Next slide, please. Okay. Now, besides all these modeling things, I have to consider stakeholder constraints, contract farming, and I will go through all of this with you. Yeah, so next slide, please. The stakeholders next. Now, there's many research articles on stakeholders because is the plantation owned by one company or is the plantation owned by many farmers? Now, if you are a farmer and you are a farmer, what are you going to do? You want to earn more money or you want to be relaxed? Earn more money, yeah. So now if I tell you bananas are $1, pineapples are $2, and coffee is $1.50, which are you going to produce? No. Okay, I'll repeat again. So banana is $1, so pineapple is $1.50, and coffee is $2. You're going to produce coffee, yeah? Okay, no need. She's just going to say coffee, yeah? What are you going to produce? Coffee, because you're maximizing your profit, right? Wrong. Why? Good question. Because if you all produce coffee, what's going to happen to the price? What's going to happen to the price? What's going to happen? It's going to decline. And we're not going to get any bananas. We're not going to get any pineapple, right? So we have to balance this out. Okay? Remember what I told you right at the start. It is a social supply chain. If I don't provide you bananas, you will complain. Because you all ate bananas, right? So I have to maximize many problems. Okay? So now you understand. Now, if I produce bananas consistently, the literature tells me I have an insect problem. I have to rotate my crop. Yeah, I cannot produce bananas more than 3 years in a cycle. Yeah, because if I keep producing bananas, the insects will grow and will destroy all my crop. So I have to produce bananas, then produce coffee, then produce something else. But you see, if the farmer is not educated, he's going to maximize his utility and he's going to produce what he can get the highest return for. So somebody has to manage the system. And that's what we are looking at here. Who's managing all the stakeholders? Okay? Very complex problem. And we have to solve this problem. How do we encourage everybody? How would you encourage, you're keeping very quiet. How would you encourage everybody to produce some bananas? Okay, you want, I love the way he says, I don't speak English in English, yeah? Okay, so you're going to pass to him. I give you the chance to pass to your friend. Do you speak English, sir? No, all right. So, yeah, now I'm going to come back because if he says no, I have moderator, moderator who speaks Bahasa. Okay, so answer in Bahasa. She'll answer you in Bahasa. Ask him, how do I encourage his people to produce banana if the banana is $1? Now remember, the banana is $1, the coffee is $2. So give him the mic, give him the mic. Yeah. From exercise, how are you gonna encourage somebody to produce banana? You want to try? You tried. You give me an answer. Very good answer, actually. Yeah. How do you encourage if somebody the banana is $1 and the coffee is $2? How do I encourage them to produce the banana?
With advertise and promotion that's my product to others.
And also, think about it, subsidy, right?
Yes.
I can give you subsidy because I'm government. I can give you subsidy banana, right?
Yeah.
Yes, because bananas, I told you, are important.
Yes.
Important commodity, staple food. So if I don't produce bananas, it's going to be a social problem. So I have to produce bananas. So I got three choices. I can give you. Okay.
Subsidy.
I can actually produce banana. Or two, I can price of lettuce. You know what I'm saying? I give you produce bananas. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying, right? So you encourage to produce. So yes, we have to do this. So this is very important. We have to understand how to do this, but it's not easy. It's not easy. But what we want is an outcome, but we are dealing with human people. Okay. All right. Got it?
Yeah,
Good.
I got it.
Thank you. Next.
You're welcome.
Now, okay, I'll go to the next slide because we are almost out of time. Next slide, please. Yeah. Now, one of the things before you click. So I said, when I cannot communicate with you and you cannot communicate with me, I'm very used to this. So what do? We play a game. We play a game. I do this all the time in humanitarian logistics. I teach humanitarian logistics to people who might not understand even the concept of supply chain. So we play a game. You like games? We play games. So I got my team to build a game. Okay. So, okay, click the button. And this is a trailer for the game. Yeah. We have a team that produces games. Okay. So you'll see here, these are games, right? Yeah. Everybody knows how to play a game, whether it's in any language, everybody knows how to play a game. Okay, so we produce the games, and this is the trailer. The game is in production, but we have produced many games. We have produced almost 10 games in the last 2 years. Okay. Our objective is not to produce games. Our objective is to communicate. Okay. Games are the best way to communicate. So next slide, please. Now, Dr. Sim asked me to talk about drum, rope, and buffer, right? So very quickly, I'm going to touch on this because I told you the problem is also scheduling. Now, how many of you have heard of the strategy drum, rope, buffer? Nobody, right? Drum, rope, buffer means that there is a scheduling problem. We cannot, if you look at an assembly line, we cannot all push things equally down the line. Some of you will work faster than others. Can I have the three of you to play a little game with me? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. Now, just to sit there, don't move. Right. Now, if I ask you and you are fast, you are slow, you are fast. Okay? If you pass something to him, what's the speed? He's gonna slow you down or speed you up? Slow you down because you're passing to him. What's gonna happen in between you? There's gonna be a build-up. Yeah? He's slow, he's not producing enough. This guy is going to stop because you're fast, but you're not getting it fast enough. So he is my drum. So he's gonna beat the drum because he cannot go any faster. Not because he doesn't want to go faster, he cannot go any faster. When he cannot go any faster, what do you need to do? Slow down to his pace. Okay? Because if you feed him much too much, he's not going to have to use it, right? So you're going to build a buffer so that because if he doesn't produce anything and you starve him, the whole supply chain stops. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? So the three of you are very important in a serial. So you build a buffer. But he's got a pull from you, and you're going to build a rope to him. So when you're walking in any tagline, the speed that you go is dependent on the slowest person in the supply chain. Yep, slowest person. Now, I didn't mean to say you're slow, right? I could use. Okay, so the speed of the supply chain is dependent on him. All right. Very important. So now when I take the banana supply chain, I really have to understand where is the slowest part of that supply chain. Because if I try to speed everything up in the supply chain, I've wasted my money and I wasted my time. Okay? So I have to find out where is that slowest part of that supply chain. I do not know the answer. I do not know the answer. We have to find out. And how do we find out? We find out through modeling and AI. Okay. Next. Okay, so I show you this. I gave it there. Next, please. All right. I also need to understand, I told you, visibility. Yeah. Next. Now, I will come back to all of this later. But first of all, can we check on the Zoom if there is my colleague online called Hassan? Hassan, are you online? So can somebody tell me if Hassan is online? Who is managing the Zoom? Can you tell me if Hassan is online? He's online? Who's handling the Zoom? Hey.
Good afternoon, Doctor. This is on everyone.
Hassan, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. Can you hear
good.
me?
Good, I can. So now I've set them up for you. So Hassan, they need an introduction to AI. Yep. And they need you to walk through the banana supply chain patiently. Okay?
Sure.
I hand over to you.
Thank you, Doctor. This is hi everyone. I guess I need someone to give me a permission for sharing my screen.
Okay. Who can give Hassan the permission to share the screen?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I got that.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Just confirm that you guys can see my screen I'm sharing here.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. This is hello everyone, and I hope you're good. I was listening to the presentation from Dr. D'Souza. I was really enjoying that. I'm glad to be here and talk about how we at Lagrange.ai help companies bring AI into their supply chain and helping them reach business impacts. A quick introduction about me. I have a educational background in supply chain management. I got my PhD in field of supply chain from Nanyang Technological University of Singapore. And following the completion of my study in PhD, I embarked on my work with Dr. D'Souza and his esteemed team at TLIP. And it was a unique opportunity for me when I was leading and working on industry project. Lots of learning. And that experience at TLIP led me to expand my own consulting activity to Subchain Era. And that was a time that we started to support industries in their supply chain digitization journey. And that period also helped us to understand the challenges associated with the supply chain digitization. So driven by that understanding of the pain point and challenges, and definitely have a passion of innovation, I found Lagrange.ai, a company that mainly leverage AI to solve supply chain digitization challenges. Let me put my teacher hat, because sometimes also I'm teaching at RMIT University in Australia. Let me put my teacher hat for a while and ask you a question. So what do you find in common among these products? And I mean, apart from the golden color, definitely. And I'm sure that, yeah, Dr. D'Souza will help me if there is an answer for that. So what do you find in common? Any answer?
On the microphone.
Nah, mau jawab? Selain warna apa yang samanya?
Okay.
Saya
Any
belum.
other answer?
Tadi apa? Oh, itu we can sell the product.
Yep.
They can sell the product.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Ada lagi?
Anyone else wants to try?
Have value. Have value.
Okay.
Have value.
Okay. I believe that I heard somebody mention the supply chain. Yeah, that's right. So it doesn't matter if the product is a Lamborghini, a Rolex watch, or banana. All of these products have to go through a complex supply chain to reach to the hand of the customer. Sometimes this supply chain is as simple as just production and distribution, but sometimes also, as you can see for this example, it has to go through the planning, sourcing, production, warehousing, distribution, and sales. So now you can see that each of these products by itself has a complex supply chain. But recent disruption and technology advancement are also adding to the supply chain complexity. How they do that? We are all aware of the geopolitical uncertainty. And that geopolitical uncertainty have triggered global material shortages. You can see that everywhere, even in your life. So as we transition into the post-COVID, we face the highest inflation over the past 40 years. Nobody in life can these days deny that they cannot feel the inflation. And furthermore, accessing new technologies such as IoT devices has empowered companies to collect huge amount of data. But the problem is that they lack the capacities to harness the potential hidden among this data. So you can see that, as Dr. D'Souza also mentioned, we are facing, doesn't matter which product is that, we are facing always a complex supply chain. So as an effective strategy to address these supply chain complexities, companies are encouraged to establish visibility. And again, as Dr. D'Souza mentioned, when we are talking about the visibility, we are not talking about the really complex solution. Even a simple Google map, just look at the maybe nodes of the company, nodes of your network on a Google map can be considered as a supply chain visibility. So that supply chain visibility is one of the effective strategy and solution. So let us delve into the process of supply chain visibility journey, because it's not maybe in some cases, like a Google map is easy, but if you're dealing with a multi-level company, you need to have a journey to reach to this supply chain visibility. So as a first step, you have to identify and source the required data. And again, we know that mainly we have two sources of data. Sometimes we have this data internally, which we name it internal source of data. Example are the shipment data in ERP. So if your company is recording the shipment data in ERP, always available to use. But sometimes also you need the external. For example, you might need to collect some information data from the social media, which help you to understand the behavior of the consumer. So those will consider as external. Anyway, so both internal and external can help you to source the required data. But the maybe complex or time-consuming part starts in the next step, which is a time that you need to clean, you need to integrate, you need to increase the quality. Sometimes you have lots of missing data, so you need to treat them. So after doing that, after if you successfully did the integration of the data, then you would have the clean and ready to analyze data warehouse. And the next, easily connecting this to the analytics module and equipped with the supply chain data warehouse, which is a clean and ready to analyze, you can run different type of analytics depending to your maybe objective. You can go through the descriptive, prescriptive, predictive, or cognitive and type of analytics. And by running this analytics, definitely by using the result, you can improve the KPI, you can improve the performance of your system, but don't forget to continue to monitor. And this process, these 5 steps are not one way. So you always need to get back to some of the previous steps to make sure that you have done it in a right way. So you can see that these are the step of the supply chain visibility if you are dealing with a really complex multi-level company or the network. But if achieving supply chain visibility or going from the data to insight is as easy as these steps, why, based on the report from the EY KPMG, only 6% of the companies are successful in this journey? What are the bottlenecks? What are the pain points? So the first pain point is that time-consuming data integration phase. So based on our experience, we found that a significant portion of the project, and when I'm saying that significant, I'm talking about the 70 to 80% of the time, is dedicated to the data integration. And when I said that data integration, again, I'm talking about the collecting data, cleaning data, improving the quality, and then make a connection between data, which we name it as an integration. So the first bottleneck is that time-consuming data integration if you want to do this manually. Then the next, or moving to the analytics phase, we all know that for running the advanced analytics, the companies need technical knowledge. And if you had the experience working with the companies or you have a connection with any industry, you're hearing about the war of talent. And that means that industries are experiencing the shortage of experts. So one more time, one of the solutions for capturing the complexity of the supply chain is to create and build the supply chain visibility. We know the steps, but going through these steps is challenging. First, time-consuming data integration. Second is the need for the technical knowledge. And we know that we are having the shortage for the experts in the market. What we can do, how we can address this challenge. In order to address the challenge, by the way, I mean, if there is any question, maybe the moderator can help me to just raise your hand, and then I would be happy to take the question. Please jump. If any question, jump and ask.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So in order to address these challenges, a promising approach involves the integration of AI. And when I'm talking about the integration of AI, means that integration of AI models, AI algorithm into supply chain analytics. And supply chain analytics are mainly simulation and optimization. I mean, I'm sure that lots of you use this optimization simulation before. There are lots of engine available. There are lots of tools and application to help you to run the optimization and simulation for your supply chain. What is the trend in market these days in terms of technology is to involve the AI models, AI algorithm, to make this process of optimization and simulation faster. Because remember, one of the challenge was the data integration, which is a 70% of the project time. It's huge saving if you can solve this challenge, this issue using artificial intelligence. So, but before I deep dive into how we achieve this synergy, let's take a moment to provide a brief overview of the concept of AI. And mainly we will go through some of the primary models. When we are talking about the AI, keep in mind that we are talking about the tool set. AI is just a concept, and under umbrella of AI, you can find a different model, different tools, different set of methodology and algorithm. So I will go through some of them. The first one is a supervised learning. So what is supervised learning? This approach involves training algorithm using label data set. And by using that label data set, this algorithm enable the people to predict the future. One of the classic example is demand forecasting. So when we want to do the demand forecasting, we will use supervised learning. Means that we will collect some historical order data from customer, and using that historical order and using machine learning algorithm, we will forecast the future demand. The next one is generative AI. I'm sure that all of you at least heard about the ChatGPT technology. So ChatGPT is one example of Gen AI model. What are these models? So Gen AI models learn the pattern and the structure within the input to generate entirely new data. If you work with the ChatGPT, you know that you will ask your question, means that you will provide some input as a text, and GPT technology will predict and will generate new text and new images. So that is a simple explanation of the Gen AI models. So they will use the pattern of the input, but they will generate entirely new text or images. The next one is unsupervised learning. So this technique is designed to uncover patterns and insight within data, but this time without any instruction, without any guidance. And the last one is the reinforcement learning. So the reinforcement learning is important because we are using these models for the decision making. Means that this model, this algorithm, focus on learning optimal behavior and help the user for making the optimal decision. So again, when we are talking about the concept of AI, remember that in application, we should learn about the models. And these are 4 examples of the models under umbrella of AI. The next slide, I have some survey results from the McKinsey, and is really nicely showing the AI potential to create value across sectors. And if you see, I highlighted those sectors which are relevant or more relevant to the supply chain. You can see retail, you can see the transport and logistics there. And you can see that how AI analytics is impacting or how they're improving or creating the value for these sectors. If you are planning to bring the AI in your company, if you're planning to implement the AI technologies in one company in future, just remember that there are 3 main enablers for harnessing the power of AI: people, technology, and process. But one of the common mistakes that the companies make is buying the technology, buying the tools, without establishing a foundation of the right people and a standard process. That's the biggest mistake that the companies are making. To unlock the full potential of AI within the company, executives, managers, even the supply chain analytics should be ready to take that technology. Otherwise, you're going to buy, you're going to pay for the subscription, and you're ending up not using any of these tools. So make sure that if you want to bring the AI, people and process are there. You have defined the standard, you have a right people, you educate your executive and managers to know the AI technology, to know the value, and then you can bring the technology and take use of that and take advantage of that. Okay. So saying all of this, let's now go through the Lagrange solution, how we are using AI. So we discussed about the complexity of the supply chain. We discussed about the supply chain visibility as a solution, but then we realized that lots of challenges, pain point to achieve the supply chain visibility. And then we discussed about the power of AI. Now I want to show you that how in Lagrange.ai solution, we are using that power of AI to overcome, to address these challenges. So here is the overview. And again, before jumping to the solution, again, is there any question so far about the complexity of the supply chain, about the power of AI? So any question related to the previous topics?
Ada pertanyaan? Ada pertanyaan nggak? Ini pada kemana nih? Pada ngambil makanan. Okay. No question so far.
Okay. No worries. I mean, at the end of the session, I'm sure that we will go through we try to make it faster, and then we will spend more time for Q&A, which is the main purpose of this session, I guess. So our solution will be divided on 3 main segments. So the first one, we name it as the automated data integration. The aim here is to achieve an integrated supply chain. You remember that challenge for the time-consuming data integration is really time-consuming. Even you have a data, then cleaning that, understanding data, integrate it, create a model, and run the analytics is really time-consuming. So the first steps is to make this automated. And we are using AI to do that. So you can see that we have a live connectors here. These are the live connectors. But these live connectors will help the user to collect or connect to the data source, either the internal data source like a ERP system or external, whatever data source that they have. But before reaching to the data warehouse, which is the clean and ready to analyze data, we will go through the 3 main steps. So what are those steps? The first step is using AI, or more specifically, because you remember I said that AI is a concept. We need to talk about the algorithm model which we are using. So here from the AI umbrella under that, we were using the process mining, which is one of the AI algorithm. So this process mining automatically will go through the pool of data and start to understand the data by itself based on the training. For example, if you put a file in one folder, which includes the shipment data, timestamp shipment data, this process mining will go through the row by row and then understand first the columns and then recognize based on the training that this is the shipment data. So process mining algorithm will help us somehow in a simple language to read the data. Once the platform understands that what data is which one or which file, then is a time to map this data in a reference model. So we have a reference model for the supply chain, and this process mining will understand the data, will take the data, and then map it on a reference model. But remember that we always say that rubbish in, rubbish out. So that's the reason that we are putting that quality assurance module here. What it does, one by one, any data before being mapped on a reference model by using the process mining will go through the quality check. What the quality check does, first, we'll check the inconsistency. For example, if there was one shipment from the ERP, but has not been reflected on, let's say, that WMS, which is recording the inventory level, this module will recognize that and will send a signal to the user that this inconsistency has been recognized. Or the next is the missing data. Later, once we are in a platform, we will see that how it does. So we'll go through the data file and then understand the missing. We'll find and highlight the missing. And now these days, we are also working to treat that missing data. Remember that Dr. D'Souza also mentioned that one of the big problems these days is that availability of the data, not how to run the analytics. So this module will help to treat the missing data, means that based on the training, based on the whatever data is available, will generate the right data for the company. So saying that, after going through these three modules, quality, process mining, supply chain modeling, we have this data warehouse, which stores the clean and ready to analyze data. The next is to run the advanced analytics. And that's a part that we name it as an intelligent supply chain. What we do, we create the pre-built modules. For example, if you need a demand forecasting, the module is there. You just need to drag and drop, connect it to the data warehouse, and run Gun Analytics. You want to run the inventory optimization, the module is there. Drag and drop, connect, get the result. So that's a part that we are making the user-friendly and ease of use for this platform. But what is interesting part, which we see lots of positive feedback from the customer, is the co-pilot. For any of these steps, any part of this platform, we are designing a co-pilot which user can easily have a chat with that. So it's a conversation. So you will write your question and get the right answer. You don't need to spend too much time. And that's a part that we are using the Gen AI models. One example, GPT, but we are not limited to the GPT only. And that's a part that we name it assisted decision making. So 3 steps: integrated supply chain, intelligent supply chain, and then assisted decision making. That's all for the presentation. Now I'm going to jump to the platform to show you the example which we developed with the help of the Dr. D'Souza's team for the banana supply chain. And let's see that how in a live demo we are using that AI and platform to create this network. But again, I will pause for a while if there is any question.
Ada pertanyaan nggak? No question so far.
Okay. Okay. Can you guys see the platform I'm sharing here? Can you
Yes.
see the Lagrange array with the workspaces here?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So this is a platform that I guess Dr. D'Souza show you the short video. Now we want to go to more details and see that how it works. So first of all, this is a web base, means that you don't need to install any software. Okay, so this is a web base. You need to log into your account. So now I'm using the TLIP account. So I log into that. The first page, it shows the workspace. Workspace means that how many projects at the moment you develop. So you can see that 2 projects are here: Indonesia Banana Supply Chain, FMCG Distribution Network. But let me first show you that how we can create the model from scratch. And then I will back to this Indonesia Banana Supply Chain to go through more details. Before doing that, let me show you some of the data that we want to use. Okay, so we are simply using some location-based data. Again, for this purpose, which is the greenfield analysis to find a new location or best location, optimal location of the facility, you don't need that many data. Just location of the customers, if you have any facility or the type of product, and some historical sales order would be sufficient. And don't worry, if they are not complete, doesn't matter in which format they are. So let me quickly open one of them. So this is some information that we generated related to the customer. Okay, so let's see what we have there. So you can see that we have some dummy name for them, some export location, and some domestic customer. And what we have here, we just specify the latitude and longitude. And doesn't matter in which format is that. That's a job of process mining to recognize the columns. So let me back to the platform. Okay, and then we want to create a new project. So let me just name it as banana supply chain. And the description, we want to run the greenfield analysis. Okay, then I said that create. So we created a new project. So if I click on that, we don't have any data model. What does it mean by data model? You remember I talked about the data warehouse for supply chain. So the first step is to create a data warehouse, and then using that data warehouse, we can run the analytics. So let's click on create model. We have several options here. We can go through the step-by-step, means that we have some imported file from the management system. We have some Excel file that we want to import them one by one, or we have a batch data import, means that we have a data lake, we have a database, all the files are there. We want to connect the platform to that database. But for this example, let's go through the step-by-step. We assume that the user doesn't have the domain knowledge in supply chain, which is a case. I mean, most of the time is a case for the user. Yeah. I mean, we cannot assume that all the user know that what are the type of data analytics, what are the type of supply chain analytics, what data they need for each data analysis or supply chain analytics. That's the reason that we developed this Copilot. So it's a kind of, let's say that GPT again technology that you can have a conversation and get your answer. So the first step, based on the objective that you have, you need to specify which supply chain analytics is appropriate for your purpose. So let me just ask the question. Say that I will start the conversation. I will say that I would like to find the optimal location of a new warehouse in my network. Okay, so I'm just simply explaining that what is my objective without having any domain knowledge. So I will submit that, and you see that the conversation has been started with the GPT. And GPT is going to answer. Look at this. So it sounds like you're interested in optimizing your supply chain network, and it's suggesting two types of analytics: greenfield analysis, network optimization. So for my purpose, as I don't have the cost parameters, greenfield analysis is the best. So I will click confirm the greenfield analysis. And then after sending this conversation, even it's giving me option that, for example, if you want to continue this conversation to provide more information, more input, and get the more appropriate analytics, feel free to do that. But for me, that's fine. I'm going to close this conversation and look at this. Once we are closing, ending the conversation, that analytics will be appear under the analytics model, which is the greenfield analysis. And you can also see the required data. So it means that you just have an objective, do the conversation, and then you will get the analytics and required data for that. So we need a customer, product, and sales order. So let me start with a customer, okay? So let me first import that customer file, which I showed you earlier. So let me go through the desktop. I guess I have it there. Okay, so customer master data. So I will import that data. There are some guidance here to say that what minimum requirement is for that data file. So it says that you need at least one unique identifier, which is a code of customer, but that's fine. If you don't have, again, the model, the algorithm will generate for you. But what is important is some information about the location. Doesn't matter. You have the latitude, longitude. That's the best case, best scenario. But if not, just provide the address. If you don't have address, provide the city and region. And if you don't have, just provide the name of country. the model will generate some demand location for this model. But for this example, as you saw, we had a lat and long in this file. So I'm going to go to the next step. So this is the pre-processing. This is the AI part. So now process mining algorithm start to go through this data file. First, identify what are there, then do the validation, identify invalid data, and at the end, go through the missing data and treatment. So we'll highlight how many missing data you had and provide some recommendations, suggestion for treatment. So this part will take time. What I will do, I will go through the model that we created, and then later we get back here to see the result. But just give you some idea, we need to go through the customer, finish that, product, sales order. Once we finish this data, then this compose will be active. So we press compose, and now I will show you that by pressing that compose, what you're expecting to see. I will go through this Indonesia. So once you press that compose, the platform automatically will create the base model. Means that you don't need to spend the time to connect this data. You just put your data file and the platform will clean it and create the base model. What does it mean by base model? If I click, base model is a part that can create a visibility for you. We're talking about the supply chain visibility, right? And look at this visibility. So in overview dashboard, you can have a supply chain mapping. You see the location of those farms in Lampung. You see the DC in Lampung, Jakarta, some DCs around Indonesia, and you can see also the domestic customers. So if I go through this network structure, you get a better understanding of the network. So again, this was based on some assumption, okay? So what does it mean? It means that we assume that we had some farms in Lampung, and that farm are sending to the Lampung warehouse or distribution center. Lampung warehouse is sending to the DC in Jakarta, and Jakarta is sending some of this product to the DC in Singapore for the export part, and the rest of the warehouses are serving the domestic or local customer in Indonesia. Okay, so this is how we assume the structure of network. But again, we assume because we had some dummy data, but in future, if you have actual data, you can feed the actual data and you can get the right or accurate structure of your network. Then in a network flow, you can see that the percentage of the flow. For example, here, the highest percentage belongs to the Singapore, which related to the export. Around 50% of the product are going through the DC in Singapore and sending to the export customers. And you can see the rest of the warehouse contribution as well. So below, you can see some general KPIs like a service level, sustainability, finance, which is related to the processing cost, facility cost, transportation cost in your network. This is the overview. If you need a detailed information, detailed report, the rest of the dashboard are available. For example, one of the really dashboard which the companies are interested to look at is the inventory. So if I go to the inventory, you can have the visibility over the inventory of the facility. How was the replenishment policy for each? For example, if you have in the DC in Singapore, you are serving this DC from the DC in Jakarta, how was the replenishment over the time? So how was the safety stock in facilities? How was the behavior of on-hand inventory over the time? So you can see all of this dashboard and have the visibility. Let me back to the, okay, still is running. So let me continue here. Is there any question?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, it's interesting, but I just like ask if you what is it upload the data, should it on this particular sequences like after a unique ID, then after that what data and what data, no, or the AI will identify it automatically?
it doesn't matter the sequence. You don't have to follow any particular format. That's the beauty of the AI part. So you just have some data file, regardless of the format, but make sure that at least some location information is there. But the format doesn't matter. And that AI process mining will go through this data file and will find the right data from the right cell.
Okay. The next question is,
Mhm.
I mean, if a student have any question, you can raise hand. Bisa angkat tangan ya. So far from my question. The next question is, I saw the data transportation cost. Transportation cost. Is it automatically by analyzing the location, or you put some cost structure on it, inputted the data of the cost structure?
Okay, how the data composer, model composer works. So first we'll go through the provided data. Let's say that in provided data, in a shipment data or sales order, you put one column to show that how much was the total shipment cost you paid for this shipment, okay? For first priority for the model is that to find some cost parameters or at least some cost information. And if they found, they will go through the machine learning algorithm and then we'll try to estimate some transportation rate. But let's say that you don't have that and the model go through this data and cannot find any cost related data. So then, yeah, that's the time that the AI will go through the benchmarking. For example, let's say that you're in Indonesia. So there are some benchmark for the transportation rate per kg per kilometer. So AI will go to the external sources and find some benchmark and will use it in a model. So it doesn't mean that the base model or the AI will do this without notification for any external use. The AI will send you the notification that to say that, okay, this has been estimated, this has been collected from the external sources, and will ask for the confirmation as well. So it means that if you have, model will use it. If you don't have the data, then the model will go through the external sources to find it.
Okay. The next question is it an open source simulation AI, or should we perhaps like it needs like need to pay, or perhaps if you have like open source, perhaps you can like share it with us with ITL Trisakti, or perhaps you can just share with us for the students version of it.
Sure, no worries. I mean, whoever needs the maybe we name it as a free account or kind of trial account. Whoever needs, just maybe have a communication with Dr. D'Souza or directly to myself. So we can also provide some kind of platform for them to practice and play with that. Yeah, that's not the issue. But in terms of the open source, what we are doing here, I mean, we are using the Azure from the Microsoft, and might not be user friendly for the student to go through that Azure open source, let's say that services. But yeah, I mean, we are happy to share some of the trial version, trial account with your students.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Any more questions?
Ada yang mau tanya lagi? Dalam bahasa Indonesia juga nggak apa-apa, nanti saya translate. Ini bisa dipakai buat nanti kalian ngolah data buat skripsi loh. Jadi nggak usah bikin-bikin manual lagi. Ada lagi pertanyaan? So far, Bu Susan? No. You can continue.
Okay, no worries. So let's back to the result of the pre-processing for the customer data. Look at here. The number of record has been recognized in that file is 56. Event process mining will highlight the type of data was there. These are the name of those columns. So it said that there's a column name code, name, address, country, lat, and long. This is a data identification. Now let's go to the data validation. it says that 54 out of these 56 were valid, but there are 2 invalid. Let me open and see what is that. We'll provide a report for that as well. So let's see. So it says that there are 2 inconsistency for the lat and long, which is related to the domestic customer 15 and domestic customer 1. So you can see that the inconsistency is coming from the number of lat and long. So we know that lat and long cannot be 190. That's how we put the rule-based logics in that process mining to make sure that for those which are not acceptable, for those data which are considered as inconsistency, the platform will highlight that. Okay. So at the moment, for the invalid data, the solution is to remove them. Okay. But before removing, we'll provide the option for user to treat them or revise them. For example, if this domestic customer 50 and 1 is important for the network, they can easily go back and then revise them. I mean, it's under development, but here we are going to put the editable button, means that directly user doesn't need to back to the Excel file. Quickly from here, they can edit the numbers or inconsistencies or invalid data and then continue with the right and correct data. Okay. So in terms of the missing treatment, you can see that those number 54, this doesn't mean the records because we have in total 56. What it means is whatever cells which was empty, it considered as a missing data. Okay, I'm providing some report to say that, for example, in column address, 54 of them were missing because we only had the lat and long. But if you look at the lat and long, 0 missing data. But again, this part also is under development, means that even after finding the missing data, we'll provide the option for the user to let the algorithm, let the AI to fill that missing data. So then, yeah, you need to continue for the rest, and at the end, you will get to this data model. So now let's say that you had a data model and you had the visibility, because so far it was just visibility, not optimization. So next step, you can go to the run analytics, and that's a part you can run the optimization as well. So, or run any analytics. Analytics can be in a strategic level, like a network optimization, greenfield analysis, can be in a tactical level, like inventory management, can go through the operational level, like a transportation optimization. So whatever level that you are, you can select, and then you will see the available or pre-built modules. For example, for the strategic level, here we have a network optimization, we have a greenfield analysis. You need to do the setting and run the analytics. And if I back to the base model, you can see that after running, you will see the result, means that out of that base model which we had, we ran one GFA, and that GFA purpose was to reduce the number of warehouses from 8 to 5. Okay, and also finding the best location for them. So if I go to this result dashboard, you will see that the location of the warehouses has been changed within Indonesia. Okay, so those are the new or optimal location. But what is the impact on the performance? One of the impact which I can say is definitely impact on the total weighted distance, which is the quantity multiplied by the distance. And that weighted distance has the indication that the transportation cost and travel distance also will reduce. So this is a 6,100,000. And if I back to the as is model or base model, you can see that with the existing warehouse, your total weighted distance is 7,500,000. So around 1,400,000 saving in terms of the total travel or weighted distance. Okay, which has definitely impact on the transportation cost and also carbon emission as well. So that's how you can run the analytics. But even we are going further, we believe that this process of manually run the analytics is not acceptable. I mean, these days the user may not have any knowledge about the level of analytics, selecting the analytics. So what we are doing, we are working on this AI query. Okay, so this AI query again is a conversation based. That means that you can start the conversation and ask your question to say that, what's your objective? You can start with a simple question. Let me start with for example, how many warehouses are there in the network? Okay. So then it's going to count the number of warehouses that you had in the data model, 8 of them. So you can go more complex question. So for example, you can say that plot top 3 warehouses with highest transportation costs. Okay. And this copilot will help you to develop a chart to understand that what are the top 3 warehouses with the highest transportation costs. So we are moving to this direction to make it much, much easier for the user. So let me finish here. And I guess I quickly went through the platform and what we are doing. And let us spend some time also for remaining question. I would be happy to take that. Any remaining question? Let me stop sharing and.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for listening to us, and for I hope you got some insights into the use of AI and some insights into the use of visualization and modeling all the way through. We use the banana supply chain as an example of showing you what we can do in supply chain management. So it's your chance now to ask myself or Hassan any questions that you might have on this general topic or the topic of technology. Any questions? We have a little bit over time, but we have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions. Questions? You're too shy. You can ask the question. It's okay. We won't look at you.
She asked a lot to me,
Ah, okay.
but she looks shy now.
Okay, I won't look at you. You can actually ask the question. Okay, you ask the question for her. Yeah, maybe.
Kan di sini ada yang di mata kuliah rekayasa logistik ya. Betul ya? I mean, most of them are now on the logistic engineering subjects. One of it is about lean logistic, and also how to locate the warehouse using center of gravity, but they calculate it manually.
Okay.
Using the what is it? Yeah. So
The algorithms that.
the algorithms.
Do you use a spreadsheet too?
Not yet. That's why I encourage them to use this AI, so they don't need to mapping it manually.
Okay. Let me ask Hassan the question. Hassan, I think you heard that question. They are using a manual approach to so weighted center of gravity. I know you're an expert also in simulation, and you use any logistics too, right? And also this AI tool will help to do this input. So talk to us briefly about how they can move from a manual approach into either simulation or actually GFA part or actually into Lagrange.
Yeah, sure. We'd be happy to address that. So in terms of the algorithm central gravity, just keep in mind that this algorithm only consider the quantity of shipment and distance. There's no cost parameters involved. So if you're looking for more advanced, I mean, the first issue for the manual calculation is that, so if you use them manually, you won't provide the flexibility for the platform or algorithm to select the right analytics for you. You might have the cost parameters. So if you have a cost parameters, then the central gravity is not a good algorithm. because then you need to move to the network optimization engine. And that's the beauty of the AI, or what the Lagrange.ai does, is that based on the objective, based on your data, will run the right and most appropriate type of algorithm or engine. And doing the comparison with any logistics. So because I mean, when I was with Dr. D'Souza and the TLIP, we were using that any logistic, and we are using some in some project. So one of the, I won't say that the issue or challenge for the using any logistics is the data integration. If you want to use any logistics, then you need to manually prepare the right format for the any logistics, because any logistics only work based on the format that it accept. Okay, so manually do the data processing, data preparation, and then import it to the any logistics or create inside the any logistic the case. But again, the point here using the AI is to automate that process. You just provide the file, doesn't matter which format is that, doesn't matter whether there are inconsistency there, doesn't matter how is the quality, how many missing you have, then the AI algorithm will take care of creation for the data model.
Thank
I
you.
hope that I answered that.
Yes, you did, and I think that's an opportunity for us to help them into getting access to the tool and the technology. Hassan, we have another question. Let's actually take this question. Yeah.
I wanna ask about kan di pertama tadi Pisang itu kan menggunakan blockchain supply chain kan, yang dimana kalau blockchain itu first in and last out, and then you will be rodent in the out last out. So gimana caranya supaya mengurangi kebusukan itu? Apakah bisa dengan menggunakan AI atau tidak? Seperti itu.
Thank you.
How to reduce the ripe banana? Is it we can use it with the AI or what? All right.
Okay, so you was mentioning the LIFO strategy. So Hassan, when you're looking at the banana, we're trying to not only determine where the best location is, right, but also trying to find out where the bananas could. That means looking at optimizing shelf life at the end. Yep, and I think this is what you excel at, because this is something that you can show that's beyond any GFA. So please.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what you're talking is that you're entering from the strategic level, which is finding the optimal location of the facility, to more operational level.
Yes.
Which is that kind of timeshare. So that is depend to the module. What I show you that, remember on that animation, I show you that the first step is the data warehouse, means that make sure that you have a data model for your supply chain. And then it's just drag and drop for the different modules. So instead of the GFA, this time you can drag for the, I don't know, if that is related to the scheduling, if it's related to the transportation optimization, or if you don't know, then again, just start the conversation. Just say that this is your objective. You want to, I don't know, minimize this time. You want to maximize maybe some KPIs. Just have a conversation and let the co-pilot to help you to first find the right module, find the right analytics module, and then you just drag and drop and use that module for your purpose.
Thank you, Hassan. And I think also associated with your question on the LIFO strategy is very important as well. Like, you heard the strategic, the tactical, and the operational. Now, when you look at the banana supply chain, the bananas are supplied to a pre-positioning before the supermarket. So the bananas are supplied in a static condition and preserved in that condition in a warehouse that's actually refrigerated. Ideally, the banana should be transported in a cold chain, not in a ambient. And when they get to that warehouse before the supermarket, they're held there and they're artificially ripened before they go to the supermarket. So the supermarket pulls according to the demand from that warehouse. Yeah. So yes, the last in, first out, but no, it's actually first in, first out too. But because there's no traceability on the bananas, all the bananas come in the same condition into that warehouse. Okay. So the technology there is to artificially ripen using UV. Yeah. So they ripen the banana to the right condition so that you, as the consumer, will buy the perfect banana. Okay. So yes, the inventory control strategy is a part of this whole system. But where do you do this inventory control strategy? Is it before the supermarket or is it somewhere further up the chain? And that's what the AI can tell you. Yeah. Right now, it's before the supermarket. Okay.
Yeah, I will translate first in bahasa.
Please.
So, jadi AI di sini untuk di rantai pasok pisang itu digunakan sebelum masuk ke supermarket. Jadi mereka akan menyinari dengan sinar UV untuk mempercepat kematangan, gitu. Yeah.
Thank you. Now, any other questions before we go? Oh, we have one question.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you for the opportunity. So my name is Gilang Revando. I'm from Logistic B 2021. So, sir, you told us about that as a logistician, we should identify everything. So it is an important thing, important skill to us for us. So the question is how to improve our identify skill and what should we do? Thank you.
Thank you. Question, and I hear me? And I will divide the answer. Yes. The other one is the hard skills. AI is a mixture of soft skills. Yeah. What are the skills? I showed you in my slides some of the soft skills. Now, when you look for, which you will do, we look T factor. Okay. We look for horizontal skills and we look for skills. So we look for the T. Yeah. So do you have the letter T in bars? You do, right? Broad skills. But we have as managers, and I have led many organizations, the soft skills. I show you on one slide. I talk about a particular company. What are the soft skills? The soft skills are observation. Yeah. Who the soft skills very fully but rigorously? The military. Yeah. If the troops are not ready to go to battle, the general will not go to battle. You know what I'm saying? He has to sense the mood of the troops. So soft skills. What did I do in soft skills? When I go, I look around me for the different. I look at saying, where are the real problems in the supply chain? Yeah. I talk to the people who are doing the job, not to the people who want to tell me about others' job. You know what I'm saying? I want to hear firsthand. So you saw me when you guide me in a company, I will go to talk to the workers on the line because they can tell me the problems faster than the manager. Yeah. I will go and look at the temperature that the supply chain is working at. You saw that. I'm working and I'm standing in the hot sun. I think temperature then, where's my friend? The temperature then was about, what was the temperature outside when we were standing?
Hot. I don't.
Meaning about 32 to 34. Temperature for the banana? No. Okay. It was bumpy road. Why are the bananas bruised? Bananas are bruised because bang, 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 you know. How are the bananas cut? The bananas are cut this and then tray, and the tray is banging around the truck. Why is there no damper on the tray? I'm looking for that signals to tell me, and then looking at the truck. Was the size of the truck big enough to serve the whole station? No. So those are the soft skills, the observational skills with experience. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the plant. How many, but I am. And what is the yield of this? We don't know the answers, but these are the skills. Talk to people. And go around. Don't. And that report is typically biased. Ground. Look, and you will be the there is. Skills are what we showed you. These are skills that you must have in order to analyze a problem. Then skills, which is the AI. Because the thing is helping you overcome, you're asking questions in natural language that can help you do the analysis. So, and that's what Hassan is showing you. Is that a question? Now, the soft skills in the classroom. The habits you will learn. The soft skills come from work experience.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
Voucher.
Okay.
Voucher card.
We got two last questions, right? We got two. Where some?
For women.
Oh, we got many last questions. I'm
the-
here, so we'll keep the last question. Okay.
Okay.
All right. You mind? We're running out of time, but I'm okay. I'm okay for time. You okay for time?
No, perhaps like the last one. The last
Okay.
two.
Last two. I promised her the question. Okay, so we'll combine the question. I'll ignore her. You know.
Okay.
We'll combine the question. We two questions as one. Okay. Please ask your question too. Please.
I am from Faculty of Transportation and Logistics System, class of 2021. Today I want to ask about what you explained earlier about time and cost effectiveness and efficiency. In terms of times, Indonesia's logistic performance is relatively slow. The average time to import goods into Indonesia is 22 days, which is significantly higher than the average of 50 days for other middle-income countries. The question is there any solution for logistics problems in Indonesia who have big problems in terms of cost and time of logistic process? The second question is there any challenge you have in running? The second question is are there any challenge you have in running the banana supply chain? Thank you.
Okay, good. Now, let me take those many questions in one. And actually, let me first address the scenario. I don't talk about a country's logistics because I must be respectful and mindful that I'm in your country. Okay, so let me talk about it generally. What creates the logistics efficiency? And then I come back to time and cost as a strategy. Now, there are ways to overcome time and cost. I haven't talked about it here, but there are ways that what the young lady asked me about time and cost and what you're asking me about efficiency. Let me go to time and cost. Sometimes we cannot do anything about time and cost. Okay, so sometimes we just have to accept. That we're going to spend more time, and therefore we have to incur, much more cost. But how do we overcome that? Now, if I gave a lecture just 2 weeks ago on this topic. There are many ways to disguise the time and cost as a new strategy. Let me put some examples in your mind, and then you'll know where I'm going. IKEA, yeah, is an ideal example of using the time and cost. It takes you, IKEA takes you as being a part of the warehouse. Yeah, you become the warehouse operator. You become the transporter. You walk in the warehouse becomes the shop. So they optimize time and cost. Okay? Zara takes time and cost as well as a different thing. They're actually saying, let me locate in a very premium shopping center, and therefore I can charge a higher price to overcome the cost. So there are many ways that companies overcome this by using strategic or competitive advantage, okay, where they locate. All right, so it's a brief answer to a very good question. Now, talking about logistics strategy and what makes a country efficient or inefficient. Actually, you have to take the bigger picture. When you look at it, what it creates efficiency. So if you talk about, you said about Indonesia strategy, now you're talking probably about the LPI. Have you come across the LPI, the Logistics Performance Index? If you look at the Logistics Performance Index, it comes from the World Bank. The World Bank actually ranks all the countries. So there are 5 criteria that they rank it on, essentially. Okay? So if you read this report by the World Bank, you'll understand the 5 criteria. One of the criteria that the countries always fall back on is customs processing time. That means you're saying how long it takes to import and export goods. So the regulations is what takes and contributes the most to the efficiency or inefficiency of a system. I recommend you read the World Bank report and you'll get this. If not, ask your lecturers to teach you about the World Bank report. So Pak Atong knows this very well. He was here this morning. Okay. Now your second question, I missed a little bit.
What's the challenge in
in the banana supply chain? Actually, there are no 2 supply chains that are the same. It is fragmented. Fragmented means there are many, many stakeholders in this supply chain, but the person who's very important in the supply chain is the farmer. Now, I always ask the question in my mind, why is the farmer in our part of the world poor and the farmer in the western part of the world very rich? Ask yourself the question and you'll get your answer. All right? Ask the question of what is the aspiration. So the banana supply chain is very fragmented. There are many players, many stakeholders. No one has the total power. It's a bit like the logistics service providers. Nobody has the total market or a big dominant share of the market in order to dictate the price and the way goods move. When something is fragmented, it is actually means it's not democratic, it's actually fragmented, it's broken. So what we have to do is that we have to collectively bring these players together such that you heard of the concept in coffee called fair trade. You heard this? Fair trade? Look up the concept of fair trade. Starbucks and all practice the concept of fair trade. If I'm going to charge $8 for a cup of coffee, I must make sure a fairly significant proportion of that price goes to the farmers. Okay? In that way, everybody is empowered in the supply chain. So those are 2 things for you to go and do your homework. Fair trade and LPI.
Okay.
Last question.
Thank you, Mr. Bob. But I guess the last question will be from the online because we will get people from online.
Sorry, I'm not giving you the last question. Okay.
It's from magister and doctoral students. Some of them also the CEO who learn in ITL Trisakti. And the question is from Pak Sigit. He asked about AI can very useful, but can reduce the use of the manpower. How then we can use the AI, but at the same time, we don't want to decrease the use of the manpower, minding that Indonesian population is big.
Hassan, I'm going to bring you in this question. It's often a question that we are asked, and I'm sure in your sphere of influence you come across this. And I'll rephrase your question: will AI replace people? Yeah, this is a question we are always asked. I know the answer that I would give. Hassan, share your answer.
Yeah, I mean, my comment is that, my answer is no. I mean, it's not replacing the people, it's not replacing the job, it's changing the job, it's changing the way that the people wants to work. For example, I mean, this is not related just about the AI. Just look at the rest of the technology which came on board and then changed the position, changed the type of the job that people were doing. Just look at the internet, just look at even the industrial revolution before that. So I would say that no, it's not removing the human from the job, it's changing their job.
Thank you. And I will add to that. When somebody was asked the question, like Hassan answered it very well, and I would just add to what Hassan. He said, AI will replace the people who deny AI.
Okay, so we have to accept the technology if you want to not
be replaced.
Not be replaced. Okay, that's the conclusion. Okay,
Yeah.
Pak Sigit, mudah-mudahan jawabannya bisa menjawab pertanyaan ya Pak Sigit ya. Vouchernya bisa diambil di Istifani ya Pak ya. Oke, untuk yang ini saya kasih voucher, untuk yang tadi perempuan kan nggak mungkin karena ini vouchernya buat di barbershop laki-laki ya. Jadi nanti saya kasih anggur busket setengah kilo semuanya. Oke. Oke, that's I guess wrapping up all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much
Thank you.
For coming here.
Thank you,
for
Hassan.
the online. Thank you for the online people in the Zoom meeting. Pak. Oke. Ya. Kalau misalnya besok masih ada kesempatan untuk gabung di day 2, kalian bisa datang lagi karena besok juga nggak kalah menariknya. Semuanya dari pembicara dari Thailand sama Filipina tentang blockchain, karena Toyota sekarang kan pindah ke sana ya. Jadi kita pengen tahu kenapa Toyota pindah dari Indonesia gitu. Blockchainnya gimana untuk yang Toyota gitu ya.
Thank you so much.
Terima kasih ya semuanya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sore.
Thank you, Hassan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Hassan studies in the US.
But then,
Oh, I see.
yeah. Good guy.
Iran, no? Iran. Yes.